Yeah, the whole look of the film is quite high concept. Into, you know, as Ryan mentioned earlier, he wanted to break away from this sort of idea of the kitchen sink dramas that, you know, Salford's been sort of inundated with, really. How did you achieve the aesthetic? Was it something that you always, you know, intended to make it look quite high concept?
Yeah. I mean, well, I think the idea of Mac and the world of Mac really dictates the film, and it is a high concept piece. And you know, we did want to make something that was not kind of like a social realistic Alan Parker comment on the British condition at the minute or anything like that. It's just a case of, it's a sci-fi, fantasy, comedy, horror.
Right. And you've achieved exactly what you wanted to.
Well, yeah, I think the only thing is that we just wanted it to be a bit bigger, but because of obviously the small budget and the equipment we had, we could only make it look as good on that equipment, but it looks great at the minute, so we're really pleased.
You mentioned budget. In terms of financing the film, how did you go about doing that? Was this some sort of, did you apply for grants and things like that, or was it all self-funded?
Well, we applied for grants, and I think the case is if you haven't got a criminal record, and if your film's not really talking much about, you know, the social condition or your local town, it is quite difficult. And when you go in there and you say, we're making a film called Mark McReady and the Archangel Murders, they kind of tend to sort of look at you a bit funny, you know, because it's not something they're used to. So it was basically funded by myself, Paul Feeney and Ryan McDermott, and then obviously there was a few people who got involved via Facebook and donated some money. So it's really, you know, close friends and family. Donated some money. So it's really, you know, close friends and family.
Yeah.
And that's how it's funded.
You mentioned like using Facebook as a way to gain funding. How successful were you with that? Was it a fairly decent contribution made through Facebook?
Yeah, I mean, it was you know, Facebook played a massive part in it because the fan base is huge there, and obviously people donate through Facebook to the film, and you know, it's good as well for networking and making people, you know, in other parts of the country and abroad aware that you're making this film, and it creates a buzz.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. What sort of equipment were you using throughout the film? Was it just in terms of cameras and lighting and that? And did you experience any problems with it?
Yeah, I think, you know, the camera we used was just was like a sort of semi-pro Sony.
Yeah.
Shooting on mini DV 2HD, and it really didn't have any rigs as such. There was no Steadicam, there was no tracking shots, there was no crane shots or anything like that. So it was really kind of like a hands-on guerrilla-style filmmaking process. Yeah. But you know, I enjoyed that because I mean, I'd definitely say that working on this film has been almost like my film school. You know, because I'm not trained.
Right. Okay.
You know, I dropped out of college. You know, I didn't go through the college route, and it was always a case of, you know, I was just genuinely passionate about making films. So, you know, it has been a real sort of learning experience for me.
Did you enjoy shooting the scenes that are set in Salford as well?
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed them because I think that it's good to be sort of in your local area. Yeah. But to kind of be putting a bit of a sort of sinister twist on it as well and be shooting a horror film. Yeah. And obviously there's places in Salford that, you know, visually on camera look amazing. You know, Swinton train station looks brilliant, the way it's lit and everything. You know, it's a great place to shoot. Yeah.
So will we be seeing Mac return in the not so distant future?
Absolutely, definitely.
Another project in the pipeline, possibly?
Yep.
Brilliant, I look forward to it.
Okay.
Cheers, alright, thanks, Sean.
Cheers.